like and subscribe. NSFW, what's the worst thing you have witnessed on a bachelor/bachelorette party? This is not going to be anywhere near as horrific as what I am sure most people will have to say here, but my friend invited an absolute scumbag to her hen party about 7 years ago. Her reputation was that she was trash, but she showed up like a different person, and was actually very nice the whole night. She was on her best behavior, buying rounds of drinks, showing a genuine interest in conversations, the whole works. She even offered to look after the coats and bags, while we got up to dance. Halfway through the first song we all turned around, to find her rifling through Ivariana's belongings. She locked eyes with us, while she had one hand full of banknotes and the other full of Somiana's cigarettes. She was not at the wedding. Whole party got drunk, best man admitted to having slept with the bride. Massive bar fight followed, groom lost one of his front teeth. The wedding still happened, but he kept his mouth shut in all the pictures. Best man was nowhere to be seen, and the title was given to the groom's other brother. Edited because people seemed to have an issue with the word ensued. One of the guys had a what happens in Vegas idea about the whole thing, and kept trying to get the groom laid. He wandered off to find a hooker. The problem is we weren't even remotely close to Vegas or a hooker for miles, so it was just an ordinary casino night, but with one guy off in the background walking up to random women he assumed would sell their bodies for money. The best man got drunk at breakfast and ate an entire banana without peeling it, and I've questioned if there is a God ever since. Friend of mine was getting married. On his stag/bachelor party in Newcastle he pulled some girl. Like I have been on a lot of stag dos, but this was the first time the groom has ever cheated. Anyway, he goes home with this girl, then next day we fly back to London. His wife-to-be picks him up from the airport. 20 minutes into the car journey home she asks him why he is so quiet. For some unknown reason he then decides to tell her everything. Wedding gets called off. He then moves up to Newcastle to be with his new woman. It lasts 2 months. He then comes back to London with his tail between his legs. Gets back with his ex-bride-to-be. They eventually got married about a year later. No one has really seen him since his wife now does not let him out of her sight. A good times. Edit. Wow, didn't expect so many replies. Agree with a lot of what's being said. Like I said earlier, it's the first time I've ever witnessed a groom be unfaithful on a stag. Like I've seen a lot of blokes have strippers all over them etc, but that's kind of expected, and half the time you can see how awkward they all feel. As far as broken trust and conscious etc go, agree with broken trust. D. Ed up for sure, and to be fair he deserves everything she gave him. Conscious tough one really. Personally I think he should have kept his mouth shut and made it up to her by being a good husband when they got married and not doing it again. Last thing I need to add that I didn't. He and her had kids at the time of the stag. 3 of them. That's kind of why I thought he should have kept his mouth shut, for them and the good of the family. I'm not condoning it at all. I do wanna say I think this was kind of out of character for him as well. Maybe that added to things. Hey ho, last but not least, the best thing for all concerned would have been for him not to he such a I'm idiot and keep it in his pants in the first place. Absolute. I'm Bell and the fella. We were a bunch of nerds in the 90s. Set up a giant LAN party for our buddy getting married. Someone hired a stripper. She gave us a shopping list of things to get, including a banana. Someone brought a plantain instead. Stripper arrives and is older than all of us. We tried to convince her to play Doom. She would not. Half the party just played video games, while the other half awkwardly tried to interact with the stripper. She was not impressed with the plantain. After about 20 minutes she said she would do something really special for the groom if she could leave early. We agreed. She put him in a mask with a dildo for a nose and ed herself with it. Super awkward. Edit. I think a lot of you are under the impression that we were somehow mean to this stripper. We just asked her to play Doom. She said no thanks, then put on her show. When we gave her the plantain she just said that is not a banana and put it aside. She gave 0 S about the guys that just wanted to play computer games. She was tipped well, and we were very nice to her. No strippers were harmed in the making of this comment. Tough crowd. It was a combo bachelor and bachelorette party, and one attendee got really drunk and wanted to leave. The hosts had collected everyone's keys to prevent drunk driving, and refused to return his keys he'd willingly given up earlier. He goes outside and shortly returns with a tire iron, and just starts wailing on guests at the party, including bridesmaids and groomsmen. One of the other attendees grabs a big 6-cell mag light and clocks the aggressor over the head with it, killing him. No charges got filed, because it was deemed justified, and the wedding went on as planned a few days later. I felt bad for the bride and groom, because no amount of makeup was going to hide the bruises and missing teeth in the wedding photos. What the? We went paintballing in the afternoon, and at one point the groom was laying down sniping, when a kid snuck up behind him and just unloaded on the grooms. Which would be hilarious, but the paintball found its way to groom's ballsack. It swelled up like an orange and he wasn't able to go to the strip club that night, nor consummate the wedding the following day. 16 years later, and his wife's still pretty ed about it, even though the rest of us think it's pretty hilarious in hindsight. Edit. Well, this blew up like nutshot. Edited words and removed unnecessary TLDR due to popular request. Also, some peeps are mad that I said it was hilarious. Just the idea of my dude sniping and then getting shot in the is just funny. Getting shot repeatedly is terrible. And no, the kid didn't get his kicked. There were too many random kids, and we had no idea who did it. We shot at him, but he was too fast. We were too old. Cest larvae. The strippers started fight each other and pulled out a gun, lol. We had to kick them out and expedite our party bus plans. Where the hell was she keeping a gun? *he asked, not wanting to know the answer. My buddy's bachelor party was set to be pretty tame. No strip clubs or casinos or anything like that. He just wanted to get these massive burgers from the local burger joint walking distance from his condo and play Mario Kart 64. So after we had all stuffed our faces from these ridiculous Mondo burgers, we sat down, divvied up the teams, and each person would drain 1 beer per lap, then exchange controllers. Every single person ended up puking immediately. Once the toilet, sink, and kitchen sink were full, people were throwing up all over the place, running around looking for the least damaging spot to spew. It was obscene. Have strippers come over. They are not strippers but escorts. Married dude. Escort as the other girl is getting slapped by ping-pong paddles in the upstairs in a good fight. Next day I have to sit in car and drive home with guilt-stricken married guy. And that is why you never sleep with escorts at your bachelor party. When I left a wedding reception to go to another event, I asked my friends to watch out for my younger brother. My friends were drunk, and they dared my brother to go knock on some limo's window that drove by. He did. Then he ran away. Then a bunch of girls opened the door and told him to come back. So he did. Then the limo drove off with my brother in it. It was a bachelorette party. My friends freaked out because they were supposed to watch my brother and he just hopped in some stranger's car that drove away. The girls in the car got my brother to eat a lifesaver off the bachelorette's nipple. Then they showed him a picture of the huge guy she was marrying the next day. He was scared for a week some guy was going to find him and beat him up. Probably has to be my friend's bachelor party. We went to a casino where he got very drunk. Ended up blowing thousands of dollars that night and he didn't seem to realize what he had done until the next morning. He was unemployed at the time and the money he spent was supposed to go towards their honeymoon. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I'm pretty sure he got a divorce. Who the hell takes an unemployed guy to a casino for a bachelor party? At a bachelorette party where the stripper dipped his in chocolate and went around to each woman expecting someone to give it a taste. Everyone refused. We had an ongoing rule through the weekend that, if you were holding a pint, and someone managed to get a nominated coin into it, you had to down it immediately. It was, I think, a Brazilian real, whatever it was a big old coin. Significant diameter and a good sturdy thickness. Anyway, one of the chaps ended up swallowing the coin along with the beer. I'll never forget the look of realization on his face. And I can imagine the other look on his face a couple of days later. Not me, but my sister's bachelorette party had a stripper whip his out and stick it in a bride to Bella's mouth on stage. I am not sure if that is normal for male strippers, but good lord. Also my sister got a lap dance and ended up with blood on her dress somehow. Sketchy. Edit. There was another bachelorette party there. My sister was known at the one with the in her mouth. Also my sister got a lap dance and ended up with blood on her dress somehow. Did a hilarious night ensue involving your sister trying to get alcohol to a high school party? I watched my boss, covered in lube, being ridden around the club like a horse by a stripper with a belt around his neck acting as the reins. Safe to say our office dynamic has altered somewhat. The groom being coerced, with money, to have one of the strippers pee on his face. Edit. It was only about $100. Either most of the money had already been spent, or the groom has a bit of a fetish. Edit 2. 0. There was another gent attending, that had convinced himself, that others would give him money, to go through the same thing with the second stripper. He was a little distraught when no one offered him any money after his golden shower. STRIPPER-2 had some very glowing, cloudy P2. Buddy of mine went old school, and had his bachelor party the night before the wedding. Right around 1 AM I get a call from my husband, who was a groomsman. Babe, you need to come get us. Now. Why? Eric got punched by a stripper. The groom had a large T-shaped bruise right above his eye, where the girl's ring hit him. Next day it was worse. Once again got a call for aid from the husband 15 minutes before the ceremony. To date that was the best mac-up I've ever done. Edit. To answer several questions. T-shaped bruise. As in cross-shaped. As in Jesus. She was wearing a crucifix ring. Why did he get punched? Stripper 1 was going after stripper 2 who was trying to steal stripper 1's tips. Very drunk groom dodged. The wrong way. Bro lie? Can confirm no. Security footage exists, and I saw it sober. No, I don't have access, and cannot post it. How did I see it? Stripper 2 pressed charges on stripper 1. The bachelor party was too drunk to be useful and identify each other in the footage, so I did. Why did I get involved? I was the maid of honor. I was dinged for my friend's bachelor party. I jammed 4 drunk Marines into a 2013 Yaris, and we hit the road. Eventually we ended up at a seedy strip club. Things are going okay. Drinks were surprisingly affordable, and we were the only people in the joint. Eventually a different dancer stumbles through the door, and is aggressively trying to get someone to buy a dance from her. Nobody is interested as she was so vertical, but she was definitely not on the A squad. She talks my buddy and his younger brother into seeing a trick, and proceeds to without warning squirt a bottle of water up her vagina, and then spray it on them. Edit. No, not the driftwood. They had all finished their service. There were strippers who came to the hotel room, and were getting most of the guys super horny. They left and everyone got super drunk and people passed out. I was laying down but still awake, when I noticed her head bobbing up and down. I slowly turn, and open my eyes and the groom is blowing the best man. The best man taps his shoulder, and gives an O face, and the groom doesn't stop. Then after the best man is done coming, the groom takes the best man's and makes sure he got all the cum, by licking what was left of it off of his. I will never forget that image. The best man then pulls up his pants and they go to sleep. I mean, while I'm freaking out in my head, while I'm laying there. I didn't sleep, didn't tell anyone about it until now. Girl I went to high school with didn't want her husband to have some random stripper at his party that will probably give him some disease, so instead she got her little sister, 20 at the time, to dance at the party instead. Not because she could trust her sister to not screw her husband, but because she knew her sister didn't have any diseases. Yeah. Little sister stripped. Then gave him a BJ. Then got on top and at him. In front of all the other guys. We just watched in silence. It wasn't erotic, but more of a curiosity. There were 2 strippers, but one was only there as her companion / business partner. She was hired for an hour and even had a mixed CD, this was a while ago, that had songs that lasted and to be right around an hour. Someone also hired a midget who would charge $5 to kick himself in the forehead with both feet at the same time. Till this day the most random picture I remember being in was with someone from the party on their back biting a lollipop handle, so the candy part was sticking out, said stripper squatting over it about to make it disappear, a midget mid-head kicking himself, and myself just looking like I am in the Twilight Zone. Edit, who knew my shenanigans about a dozen years ago would blow up. I am trying to contact someone that was there. I remember the picture had to be developed, so I know someone has the copy. I think Friendster was a very on-earth form of social media still. I do remember this being in SoCal and the little person being hired from www.rentamidget.com. I will keep looking. Edit #2, I reached out, and I am so sorry that I cannot come up with that picture. Please understand it as, not just you that are disappointed. I turned 32 this month, and after responding to this post, I now realize the most epic picture I'll probably ever be in is lost, like a fart in the wind. I have one person who has not responded that was there that might have the copy. If that is the case, then I will definitely post it in the subreddit. Again, I am so sorry, I'll keep looking. My nephew was getting married, and we're 3 years apart in age, so I was his best man and we're both very inexperienced with finding strippers at this point. So we go to a strip club, and ask a bouncer how we could find a stripper, or if we could hire one from the place we were at. He pretty much gets in the way of us walking into the rest of the strip bar, and says something like, "I got a girl for you." We talk about price, and he gives us his number. We walked out of there shocked at how easy it was. Looking back on it, it was too easy. The night of the party comes a week and a half later. We called him 2 nights beforehand, and told him what time she needed to be there, and where. Right on time the stripper shows up. At first it seemed she was alone, but out from behind the door frame the bouncer revealed himself. We were rendered scared of him robbing us. He was a pretty nice guy, so we invite him in, and give him a beer. The girl is a dime, and she starts dancing. And one of the more perverted of our friends brought dollar bills, and was trying to put it in her thong, while trying to get some groping action. This goes on too long and too often. The bouncer looked visibly uncomfortable and kind of upset. I did not really understand why, until the one friend got real handsy, grab of the cheek plus slight twist combo, and the stripper turned around, slapped him, and looked at the bouncer and said, "Baby, Irena, you gonna do anything about this?" We then all slowly turned to the bouncer, and realized he had brought his girlfriend to come strip at our party. He tried to play it off, and said something like it's as part of the job, sweetheart, don't know why I remember him as Italian with a leather coat on. You asked it really. She gets angry and the bouncer starts to panic, while also trying to play it cool. He walks over to her, and they start whisper yelling at each other, "Shares." Ed and Harris trying to keep the atmosphere up. He steps back, after he thought the situation was under control, and turned the music up, and starts a poor attempt at motivational fist pumping. She stood there with her arms crossed, staring directly at him, seemingly questioning every decision that led up to this point. He continues, making an honest effort to make it work. Out of nowhere it must have clicked in her head, and she came to the decision after 2-3 minutes of deliberating, while watching this guy try to get her to start stripping/dancing, walks over to him, turns off the music, and broke up with him in the other room. She was pretty much in a bra and a thong. The bouncer was holding her jacket, and I have never seen someone walk out so sexy and so confident. The bouncer cowered out of the kitchen, obviously upset, eyes possibly a little wet. Awkward eye contact between me and him ensued, and he went after her, and the party didn't really recover. TL. Dr. A bouncer at a strip club brought his girlfriend to my nephew's bachelor party to strip, and they broke up during the party. Well, it was my best friend's Mary bachelorette party. Me, Mary, her mom, sister-in-law, and our friends went out to eat. Then went dancing downtown. Totally got trashed. Her family were the only ones who were sober. They drove Mary and I. Mary decided she wanted to go to a bar across town. Then she started throwing up in her mom's car. All over the floor and herself. We get to this other bar, and get her a reusable grocery bag to bath in. I walked like a mile, in my high heels, to go her a glass of water from the bar. When I come back, everyone is Ed cause Mary won't get out of the car and keeps missing the grocery bag we gave her to throw up in. So I come up to her, and tell her, Mary, come on, get out of the car. Now. She says, OMG hello goodbye 92. You're supposed to be my free IE and starts crying. I grab her around the waist, she's a tiny thing, and pull her out of the car, and make her sit on the door frame. Once she stops throwing up, we decide to just go home. Well, then I started throwing up. I had enough sense to hang my head out the car window. I probably terrified all of the other drivers. I guess the way the window was made caused Mary's sister-in-law, who was sitting in the far back seat, to get hit with a fine spray of my vomit. There was a massive swath of vomit along the side of the car. We made it back to Mary's mom's house. They helped us drunk inside. I went into the shower. I'm super close with Mary's family, but I never wanted them to see me like that. I blacked out in the shower. I came to a few times. One of which was everyone helping Mary go to the bathroom. Then someone screamed, it's on the floor. Someone grabbed toilet paper and picked something up off the floor. Come to find out, Mary must have not communicated to her family that she was in the process of pooping. They tried lifting her off the toilet and a turd fell on the floor. We all went to bed and me and Mary kinda woke up at 7 a.m. I told her about the bathroom incident then. She was mortified. Even more so when she found some evidence under one of her fake nails. Edit, formatting and grammar. Edit 2, I don't want to be that person, but holy, I can't believe I got gold. Thank you so much, whoever gave it to me. I'm in awe. I've never had it. This is my highest upvoted comment, by far. By a lot. I'm positively shocked. I'm happy I could make people laugh a bit. Now if Mary sees this, she is an infrequent Redditor, she is going to murder me. I used to work at one of the busiest bars in my city, very popular for stag/hen nights from all over the country/neighboring countries. We saw some really messed up stuff with stag/hen nights. Worst stag do we had were all very loud, very aggressive, and very drunk. Fee booked out a room upstairs and hired in strippers. We later found the stag bachelor going down on one of the strippers in the middle of the bar downstairs. When security stepped in, he tried to fight all of them, unwise. The worst hen was much worse, ended up having to give a statement to the police. There were about 20 women ages ranging from 20s to 60s all dressed up as minions, with the hen bachelorette being a minion in a dress. They started off alright, pretty loud, but you can't blame them for that. But as the night went on, the hen got extremely drunk. I was on the floor collecting glasses when I walked past a crowd gathered around one of the ground level speakers. I stepped in to see what was going on, but I was not prepared. The hen was sitting, legs splayed, underwear gone, with about 3 different people's hands all having a feel. She seems to be loving the attention, beckoning people to join in, and waving at the people filming. At this point I call security over, and they disperse the crowd, and bring the hen into one of the quiet areas, give her some water, make sure she's okay. She seems happy, but the rest of the party are either arguing with each other or crying. Her mother, also at the party, was definitely not happy. But the worst part was when one of the people filming came into the quiet area to tell her that he knows her fiancé and had already sent him the video. She then orders security to phone the police and changed her story from just a bit of fun on my hen night to I was raped. The whole thing was awful. So glad this got asked. I was at my Badara's bachelor party in Montreal. His thing was relatively tame, however, as when we're walking from the strip club to the bar, we end up behind a bunch of college girls who came up from the States to drink. They're all dressed in their club gear and completely hammered. I see one particularly wobbly young woman wearing incredibly high heels. She takes a misstep and rolls her ankle so bad her shin touches the sidewalk. She straight up broke her leg, but was so drunk she kept on trucking. I run up to one of the more sober looking members of her group, and I'm like, your friend just broke her leg. Unfortunately she and her friends think I am trying to pick them up. I am like, I am married, and 10 years older than you, but you should probably take care of your friend. Meanwhile the injured woman's leg is already swelling up. Also, at my bachelor party, the strip club we went to ended up being the venue for the Macro Wrestling Federation, so instead of boobers I got little person wrestling. My friends also got a store clerk to detain me for shoplifting as a prank. Excuse me, your friend's leg is broke. I have a boyfriend. Friend's bachelorette party heads to a grotty strip club, where a particularly sweaty and greased up male stripper takes a drink from the hands of one of the party, puts it on the stage, and proceeds to do push-ups, dipping his into the drink. He'd also just put shaving cream all over himself for some reason, so there's big blobs of that, and a film of grease all floating in this girl's rum and coke, that this bloke has been dipping his knob in, and out of she takes it, and downs it in one, and licks around the inside of the glass. Nearly threw up. Edit, I know you would expect it to be whipped cream he was rubbing on himself, but unfortunately it was definitely shaving cream. I distinctly saw him bring out a can of Gillette and spray it all over his chest and crotch. On mine right now. Nothing crazy, but my baby sister brought a crock pot. She is now making chili in my hotel room. It ain't at a party till someone whips out a crock pot. Well, not really a bachelorette party, more of a shower given by my soon-to-be in-laws. Lots of conservative friendly polite church ladies. It was very thoughtful of them, and they gave us lots of sweet gifts, and just about everyone gave us one of those little kitchen towels. As things were winding down I said, wow, you must think new lives make a lot of messes that require dish towels, huh? Everyone started blushing and looking away and I cringed. So hard. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck.